What's going on, all you PPL fans? It's your power ranking analyst, Chris,
Chaos.
and yeah, today we'll be bringing you guys the Week 1 D2 Season 3 power rankings. Yes, that was a mouthful, but hopefully they'll be moderately entertaining and insightful. So yeah, Week 1 was pretty fun to see everyone get into action, and I'm excited to talk about it.
So am I. It's gonna be great. Are we gonna have to speed run this and get it done in 20 minutes?
No, I think I don't have anywhere to necessarily be, so.
All right, cool. I just remember last time we did an hour and a half for the other one, and you
Yeah.
said it was too long.
Well, that's just because there was 4 people. With 2 people, we can go fairly slow and it shouldn't be longer than 40.
I mean, if we need to, I can just keep my analysis down too if they're bad.
I think it'll be fine. We'll survive.
All right. Do you want to start us off then on the right?
Sure. Well, we can both just kind of go. At number 1, we started at number 12. I was about to do that. About to do that in the very wrong order. As you can tell, I'm really good at this. Anyways, well, we have the same number 1 and the same number 12. Spoilers. But at number 12, we have the Pittsburgh Piratas. Coached by Oldman Tup. He played Kyle this week, and his ranking is, for me, still kind of largely influenced by his team, which I had, even though we didn't do an official power rankings for post-draft before Week 1, I did have him ranked 11th with his team, and he lost bigger than anyone else. I don't think he necessarily played particularly bad, but I think that his team was just kind of blown back because he had nothing to outspeed Thunderous. And like I mentioned, he had nothing over that base 100 speed. And as we saw last week, that really, really hurt him. And he only really made one bad misplay. It definitely didn't lose him the game, it just lost him the game 5-0. He overpredicted thinking Kyle would try to preserve differential against the Entei, which Kyle had no reason to do at that point because after breaking through those walls, he had the game won with his other Pokemon in the back. But aside from that, I don't think he played too bad of a game, but the game was just a product of his team overall, I think. I don't know what you have to say.
In his defense, he did he freeze-dried Landorus coming in, which was absolutely beautiful.
That was really good, but Kyle was pretty much sacking that anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it definitely, Kyle had control of the match for the most part, but it was too beautiful not to mention it.
Of course. It's cool to see that Mon get a kill. So.
Yeah, definitely. I did not realize that Articuno was so slow until just now. I thought that it was at least base 100, but it's actually 85. I was not aware of that.
Is it 85 or is it 90?
I think I just looked it up. It's 85.
Okay. I thought it was 90, so I was wrong too.
That was surprisingly slow. I thought that it was faster than that. But anyways, I pretty much agree with you. His team is fairly slow, and that can be a big problem, especially for teams that have base 110, base 120 stuff where they don't have to worry about running speed natures and whatnot. So you pretty much wrapped it up pretty well.
Yep. Kyle pretty much. He wasn't like he said, he wasn't necessarily expecting to sack his Lando there, but the fact that he did sack it got rocks up. So that's all I really needed to do that.
Just
game.
like something else that got rocks up that only really needed to that we'll talk about later.
Of course. All right. Now you want to move on to your number 11 and my number 11.
Yes, which is also your number 11. Again, and this is where the sharing is going to end until we get to the top of the bar.
It's true.
We have New Crustle United, otherwise known as the Amazing Chi, sitting at 11, which we didn't really have a first week PR, but I believe you had him at about 7. I definitely had him in the lower half. I didn't put actual numbers to them, but I knew about where I had everyone standing.
Yeah, it's definitely a team that I like some of the pieces of. It's just the gap between 123 and 100 speed, which is the problem. But
yeah, I'm pretty sure his only fast thing is Noivern and then Unburden Hitmonlee, right?
Unburden Hitmonlee, yeah. Though he does, have Trick Room, which is cool. But we talked about that in the team analysis. Go ahead about the match.
Yeah, but it was it just didn't go well for him. His Mamoswine was super threatening, but Snorlax was having none of it.
Yeah, he did get low rolled there, which was unfortunate. But that happens, and aside from that, he really didn't have a ton for
for Jordan's team. And I was actually, just speaking of Jordan real quick, I was really impressed by Jordan's performance that game, just have to say.
Yes, Jordan did do incredibly well, especially after he misclicked 2 sleep talks in a row.
Yeah.
That was absolutely beautiful, which is just unfortunate because, how you're going to end up low on power rankings if your opponent misclicks 2 turns of doing absolutely nothing.
You still lose big.
Still lose 3-0. But, man, I really like Chi's team, actually. It's got Victini, Mungus, and Mega Blastoise, all of which I love. But,
yeah, it's a great core.
Yeah, but it's definitely, like you said, lacking in speed, and he just didn't do that well this
Jordan
week.
Brutalized that speed with a Latios, as it was able to outspeed his entire team, pretty much. So
yeah, pretty much for the most part. Latios is base 110, so that's everything but Noivern. Yeah.
Yep, which I watched these games. Yeah, it didn't. Which I was about to say, I was like triple checking that it didn't come to the match in case I was blind.
Yeah.
But yeah, Noivern didn't come to the match, so barring Ice Shard from Mamoswine, nothing.
In Chi's defense, though, that Snorlax got really lucky with Sleep Talk.
Oh.
Who uses Sleep Talk and doesn't get rest?
Yeah, I mean, it got crit, or his Victini got crit too, I believe, from that Snorlax. I mean, so he definitely, and his Blastoise did too. So like, it was definitely very hacksy against Chi. But I don't think that it was necessarily. I don't necessarily think that he would have won the game without the hacks. I think it's one of those games where it's really hard to tell what would have happened without the hacks, just because it influenced it so much.
Yeah, I think that 2 free turns of Sleep Talk while awake kind of makes up for it.
In a way, yeah, definitely. But he still definitely does not have a bad team, and I think for sure has a chance to make it.
He can definitely climb up from where he's at, undoubtedly. I mean, when you've got Victini, anything is possible.
And a 3-0 loss to start the season isn't the worst.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like you got 5-0'd or anything.
Yeah. Sorry, Tub.
We love you. Anyways, if you want to go on to number 10.
Yeah, so this was an interesting match. I think this is the first time I've ever seen anyone in a Showdown League match lose to timer. Technically. Like, there was no way that he would have actually won that game anyways.
Yeah.
But it was really like, I've never seen that before. So that was interesting. I think Rocks ended up being a problem for his team, which is surprising.
Who are we talking about, by the way? Because you still haven't said.
Oh, sorry. RTK in the Portland Timbers. I have them at my number 10. Sorry about that. But anyways, they faced off against Battler X and the Milwaukee Salzbucks.
It's Steve.
Is it actually Steve?
It's actually Steve.
Fuck! I actually did watch his video, but I'm just so used to watching Battler X for a season now that it's my automatic, exclusively the GBA.
I'm pretty sure that Battler X was like he didn't have time for us lesser people in this lesser league.
Gotcha.
So he's probably waiting until Steve manages to get to D. He's waiting until Steve gets into D1, which is definitely going to happen.
Oh, 100%. Steve has the greatest draft I've ever seen because Infernape is the best rocker in the game and you don't need anything else.
I mean, it worked.
It did work! He brought Stealth Rock Infernape! and it paid dividends for him this match. Really able to pressure RTK's very offensive team for the most part, and him being able to do that as RTK didn't bring Hitmontop in order to get rid of the rocks. So Steve was pretty much just able to pressure his team with his offensive things, and that was pretty much it.
That's all she wrote.
Yeah, I mean, DD Latios was cool.
Yeah, I actually talked with RTK. I'm good friends with him. We chat every now and then, and he said that it really threw him off. He wasn't expecting it to be there.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely see why Steve brought it. The Steel Wing was MLG as fuck, and sorry, Raikwin, if I'm supposed to keep this PG, by the way. My bad. In retrospect, yeah, but I mean, it makes sense against his team. A special one wouldn't make a ton of sense because it's pretty much a free switch in for Mega Gardevoir if it's moderately bulky. So, and Steve does not appreciate switching into a Mega Gardevoir because no one does.
Mega Gardevoir is one of the, like, Mega Gardevoir and Mega Medicham, they're one of those mons they are just, like, can never find a switch in for.
Yeah, and I mean, especially because, like, I mean, Steve's Fairy Resist is Scizor, but I mean, if RTK gets the predict right with an HP Fire, then GG.
How well does non-invested Scizor even take Hyper Voice?
Oh, it does like 45. So
Yeah, I was
like,
about to say, it definitely
from a modest
does a lot.
Gardevoir, it does like 45, so it's not the switching anyway. I mean, if you bring like a Spadef Akaberry variant, it's probably a pretty good counter.
For that one turn that you have Akaberry, at least.
Yeah, but even then, you're still taking like 30 from Hyper Voice. So
It's ridiculous.
it is.
Yeah.
It's a really good Pokemon. Yeah, I think RTK. I mean, his prep was okay, but like you said, what he said, and his own commentary, he just really didn't bring anything for DD Latios, and he paid the price.
He paid the price, exactly. I agree.
Alright.
My number 10, this is where we start to we differ all the way until number 2.
Not hugely though. It's just usually a few places off.
Yeah, I don't think we have anyone that's more than like 3 away. 3 is the most.
Even I don't think we have anyone more than 2.
Do we not? Oh yeah, you're right, we don't.
No,
I
we
thought
do.
that-
No. We have one that's 3 away, but that's it.
Oh yeah, there it is. 4 and 7. We'll get to them.
Yep.
But at number 10, I put I can't pronounce it's Ellie.
Accrington Stantler.
Thank you. I put her at 10 mainly because I'm not a huge fan of her team. Is the main reason.
Yeah.
She played against what is one of the we can probably say is one of the top teams of the
And
season.
one of the, I think, a very good player. Also.
Yes, someone who was also when he was brought into D2, we were all terrified of him. All the people who were playing, which is Fizz. She got what was the differential? She lost. Where is that?
She lost
3-0.
She lost 3-0. Yeah.
Yes, it was a 3-0 loss for Ellie. You see T-Tar and Excadrill there, and you're thinking, yes, Sand Force or Sand Rush is just going to tear her apart, and then Kabutops wins.
Yeah. Kabutops and Volcarona too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the one thing about Fizz's team I do like. He does have that double spin support for it, which really helps it. And
It's exactly what you need for Volk, and he also has Defog Crobat even, so he's got 3
very good hazard removers.
Yeah, very good hazard, especially when you have 2 separate kinds rather than just the one. But anyways, I'm not the hugest fan of Ellie's team. I can definitely see the good in it, like how do you hurt Mega Adino plus Registeel? But I'm just not the hugest fan. I don't like having Zapdos and Talonflame both on the same team, and your spinner is Starmie and Defog Zapdos.
I just think Starmie. I mean, she has another Rock's weakness in Scolipede too.
Yeah, and Scolipede. I didn't even notice that.
Which the one thing that's bad if you get rocks up with Scolipede is, if rocks aren't up, you can reliably run a resist berry and live whatever hit you plan to resist. But if rocks are up, a lot of times it'll die from what would be a super effective hit made neutral, but usually it'll die anyway to it after rocks are up. So that's another reason why it's really important. And I feel like a big problem for her in future weeks will be that Starmie will be consistently pressured by her opponent, by whatever hazards her opponent's able to get up, or Zapdos in the same fashion. So I think that'll be rough for her.
Wait a minute, what week is it? In week... I can't find it. No, find it faster, Chaos.
What team are you trying to...
You're gonna laugh as soon as I say it, is why I wanted to find it first.
Okay.
Anyway, she's not gonna... Oh, it's week 7. Week 7 against that powerful Stealth Rock Infernape from Steve. She's going to stand no chance having to run Rapid Spin on Starmie.
Oh yeah, absolutely no chance. It's not like Starmie's a good check to Infernape.
No, man, I mean, what's it gonna do? Psychic and Water type moves? Psh, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, you can run a Pyapa and a Pasha Berry at the same time, right?
Yeah, that's how it goes.
With
But anyways,
Thunder Punch, so it's cool.
Yeah, easiest counter of my life. Or just U-turn and get Choice Band U-turn, get I don't know, 50% off. I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah, probably 85 because Starmie's.
I don't even know how. I know
Anyways.
Yeah, moving on. That's basically why I have Elliot. She got 3-0'd, and Kabutops is amazing.
Yeah, and I think she really did get hurt by not bringing Zapdos to this match. I think it had a really good matchup versus a lot of Fizz's team, and something like a T-Wave Zapdos.
She didn't bring Hariyama either, which I thought probably would
Yeah.
have been. Celebi and Crobat are there, yeah, but that would have been really nice for Exca, T-Tar, Kabutops, etc.
Even if it was an Assault Vest variant with Rock Slide, could check Volcarona fairly effectively too.
Yeah, I could also do that, and it would
probably,
also hurt.
probably even take a Hurricane from Volcarona, so.
I would imagine, probably.
Especially considering, I mean, he didn't bring Rain, so it'd miss anyway, but.
Yeah. Unfortunate.
Yeah, but that happened, and yeah, that was that game. So, Ellie is my number 9, and I don't really have anything else to add, so why don't you go into your number 9? I'll throw it right back to you.
You can't just throw me right back on the spot. I just got off the spot. My number 9 is my good buddy Eric. I love Eric, but he has a pretty big tendency to be-doof things.
And absolutely nothing for Darmanitan.
Yes, and absolutely nothing. I will give him this, and this is why he's not lower for me. Not only because I like his team more than Ellie's, but, like, he really didn't have anything for Darm. And,
well, no, but here's what I don't understand. Arcanine had a very, very better than okay matchup. Very good matchup. Versus Jack's team. And it can switch into Flare Blitz.
But Earthquake.
But the thing is that against his team, you're not going to be clicking Earthquake as the first move. You're going to be clicking Flare Blitz. And
that's true.
Also, if you're max defense after Intimidate, I believe you can survive. I'm not exactly sure on this calc, but I'm fairly certain that you can. Well, either A, he could have ran Flash Fire to be immune to Flare Blitz.
No, he would have to do Intimidate for other moves.
But I think Intimidate would be better. But I'm pretty sure you could take. I'm pretty sure Arcanine could take a Flare Blitz plus a Rock Slide after an Intimidate if it's max physically defensive. And even if it couldn't, if you just click E-Speed the next turn, that's going to do like 40 to a Darmanitan, and you're going to really wear it down. And even against the rest of Jack's team, I think Arcanine had a very good matchup. Extreme Speed was really nice for a lot of Pokemon. You could have run something like Dual Status to wear things down. I know that at that point in time, Jack did have Chansey, which he no longer has due to transfers. So I guess something like a Dual Status Arcanine with Toxic and Will-O-Wisp would be slightly less appetizing. But even then, I think it was really good versus things like Skarmory, Darmanitan, Extreme Speed for his frailer threats like Greninja and Mega Alakazam. So, and even Raichu, which put in some amount of work that game. Greninja put in quite a bit of work that game. So I definitely think he should have brought Arcanine, and the mixture of Arcanine and Slowking I think could have very effectively checked Darmanitan. I don't think he necessarily played poorly around it. He only made one misplay, which was instead of sacking something else, he switched straight into Slowking into it at some point, which made him sack his Slowking, which means he lost. So that was his misplay, but also I think it was he was at bigger fault in prep for not bringing Arcanine, and I think that led more to his loss than anything. But
I can agree to that.
But overall, I definitely do like Eric's team, and I expect we'll see better success from him in coming weeks.
Oh, I absolutely love Eric's team, and that's why it's probably going to end up... As long as he can stop B-doofing things, then it'll definitely end up climbing through the ranks. He's got nothing but solid Mons and then Groddle.
Exactly.
Also, I have that calc if you want to hear it. It's,
Oh, yeah.
The 252, if it was Jolly with Then Life Orb, Earthquake does 53 max, Flare Blitz does 30 max.
Yeah, how much does Rock Slide do? Because it would do slightly more with Life Orb.
It says it's the same.
Force. Really?
Yeah, I don't know why, because I was thinking the same thing, but it gives me the same calc, 44.8 to 53.
With Rock Slide and Earthquake?
Yeah, what's Rock Slide's base power?
75.
Yeah, it should be a couple of percent more, but it says it isn't. I don't know why.
On my calc it says Rock Slide does less.
Well, that's one of the mysteries for the commenters to figure out for us.
That's so weird. Okay, yeah, tell us how we're wrong, please. I'm so confused. Anyways, but even with those calcs, as long as he could keep rocks off this field.
I definitely agree with you. Bringing Arcanine probably would have been a better move, but, it's in the past. He's still got a good team, and I've watched all through last season of TBU, and I definitely could see... I know that Eric has great potential if he can just pull it out, so...
Yeah. Alright, anyways, time to our number 8s. You have RTK and the Portland Timbers at number 8. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add on them. We kind of discussed that.
You pretty much covered it up. I did want to point out that for the people that were confused as to why he timed out on Showdown when you can just turn off the timer, you're not allowed to do that in PPL. So he kept it on because he was honor-bound to do so. I don't think that Steve would have minded, but
yeah, I believe
them's the rules.
I believe he was calking correct.
Yeah, I think so. That's one of RTK's biggest problems is he
Well,
thinks.
actually, I think the reason why Steve didn't turn it off is because I believe RTK was the one to set the timer.
Yes, RTK did set it. He did have it, but he left it on because that's the rule.
Well, also, Steve, the only way he could have turned it off was doing /timer off, which isn't necessarily the most apparent thing. Especially, I know Steve doesn't use PS a ton, so he might not have known that he could have done that also.
Yeah, but
anyways.
Definitely, you know, RTK got caught off guard by the Mega Latios, but I mean, stuff you got to think of, because it definitely, looking at it, can put in a good amount of work on his team. He also, like you said, he didn't bring Hitmontop, and even though your opponent only has one rocker, one stealth rock move is all the opponent needs to have them up for the rest of the match if you don't have your spinner with you. But I still think that RTK has not the... I wouldn't say it's like the best team of the season, definitely, but it's still a good team. Thunderous Eye, Mega Gardevoir, and etc.
Oh, totally! It's very threatening.
It's very threatening.
It's one of my favorite teams.
I really hope to see him do better as the weeks go on. I think that he's. I talked to him after the match a little bit, and he's taken the loss very well. And I think he's really excited to do better and get into it.
I mean, he proved like in season 2 of D1 that he can definitely be a threat in the format when he got second. So definitely better things to look forward to from RTK. But anyways, I'm going to go straight into my number 8 and your number 7, I believe, which is Jordy and the Southampton Sneasels. This week, I was really impressed by Jordy. He, despite getting extremely, extremely lucky, still played well. He prepped well, I think. He used Crawdaunt very effectively as a cleanup mon instead of a wall breaker, which is something that I really, really, really like to see. I think oftentimes people see its base attack stat and its ability and just want to like come in early to mid game and click knockoff, even if it's better used as a late game sweeper. So I thought that was really cool. Snorlax got really lucky and chipped down everything, and you know it's a good game when you win fairly handily and don't need to send out your Clefable.
That's a good way of looking at it.
And also, wish Latios was cool.
Yes, he did really well in the match, and just the absolute... Even when you come away with the 3-0 victory, like we said when we were talking about Cheat, when you come away with the 3-0 victory after misclicking Sleep Talk while awake twice, it's... you know that you did well.
Yeah, and another thing to say, like, about Chee's team, like we were talking about that big speed gap, the only fast things on Chee's team, aside from Noivern, are just destroyed by Crawdaunt after Hitmonlee dies. So he was able to use his Nidoqueen to take out the Hitmonlee, and after that, there was literally nothing stopping Aqua Jet plus knockoff.
I love seeing Crawdaunt clean up.
Oh, I do too.
It's one of my favorite mons, honestly.
Oh,
and I'm
for sure,
very
same.
I'm glad to see Jordan using it as well as he has.
I thought very well. I was impressed, and I hope that he keeps surprising me with a team that I was not the biggest fan of.
There you have it. I think, what are we on to now?
We can go to, I guess we'll go to my number 7 again, because that was your...
Yeah, because we both pretty much praised Jordan, and we can move on now.
My number 7, Milwaukee Sawsbucks. So after Steve mocking me with clips from the, well, really all of us, from the...
I take.
You less so. No, you less so. It was
less so.
It was really just. I think you said like one thing. It was like me, Riz, and Trev. But you know, he brought GD Latios, pretty much killed everything, and it even says like on the sheet, in case you guys don't know, like the sheet people were like write little summaries on the games. Steve's Infernape thing said, "Got up rocks. They worked. Steve 1, Analyst 0." So I'm very entertained by your sheet commentary. Probably more entertained than I was by your match, so keep that up.
Whoa! Man, even after proven wrong, we're throwing out shade. Okay.
I don't know. He might not even watch this video anyway. No, but regardless of me giving him a lot of shit, I was impressed by Steve. Mirko Blastoise was cool, killing the Vaporeon, which cleared the way for Latios to win the game. Yep. That's pretty much all I gotta say.
Let's talk about the real MVP on Steve's team for a second, which is obviously Regice, which even after getting crit and burned, managed to be good death fodder.
I mean, I have nothing else to add.
It's a Regice.
I might add a few things once we get to.
Yeah, because since we have him differently, you can talk about him then. All right, go to your number 6.
Is my number 6? I have Evelyn at number 6. So Evelyn did. She didn't get. I don't want to say lucky because she also did some good work in playing and whatnot.
She got lucky.
But she was up against Ruby Marrow, which was one of the most highly appraised teams this season.
Yeah, I mean, it is still my favorite draft.
Yeah, Ruby has an absolutely incredible draft, and Evelyn has a Mega Charizard with, I don't think, does she have any removal other than
She
Mega
has Togekiss, which...
Togekiss, right.
While Togekiss is a reliable defogger, for sure, it's a Pokemon that I myself have used Togekiss
many, many times in draft format. It is in my name. It is one of my favorite Pokemon. I almost never run Defog on it if I can avoid it. I hate running Defog on it. You're almost always better with 4 other moves. But after she still managed to win her first game, without, I don't even know if she had defog on her Togekiss. I cannot remember for the life.
I don't think she did.
I don't think she did. But even after all that, I mean, she did just kind of lead off with Charizard and dent that Rachi. But kill the Rachi. But she was able to use Togekiss because she didn't run defog on it, which I appreciated her not doing, even though it was only defogger, to destroy pretty much everything.
Yeah, that's basically how it went down.
She did get fairly lucky. She got rolled. She got pretty lucky when Ruby got a low roll. That's what I was trying to say. With his Rock Polish Donphan, which would have won Ruby the game.
Dude, I can't wait to talk about that when we get to Ruby.
Okay, yeah. So she did pretty good there. She also got crits and flinches, which allowed her to win. I mean, the last flinch, it was in her favor, obviously. The crit, I think, mattered quite a bit more. But aside from that, I think she played a solid game. She brought the right Pokemon.
She did really well with the Terrakion.
Yeah, I was just about to say, she bluffed the Scarf with Terrakion fairly well. I thought that worked well. Yeah, I really don't have anything else to say about Evelyn. I was pretty impressed. She keeps improving from her first season in D1 and then in D2 last season to now. She's like now very, very solid, and I think she has made a transaction, dropping what was the blah blah blah, not Gorbis, Huntail and Torchic. And then using a couple extra points to pick up Tentacruel. So now she has a reliable Rapid Spinner with her team, which changes my opinion on it greatly. It is now one of my favorite drafts. And I think going forward, she has a very good chance to be competitive for the title.
Oh, I definitely agree. She has a great team, and she did really well with each of her Mons this week, excluding Nidoking. But when Donphan has a Rock Polish up, something's got to be foddered at some point.
Exactly.
But she did very well with all of her Mons, I would say, and definitely with the addition of Tentacruel at the loss of basically nothing.
Yeah.
She's in a much better position because not only does she have now 2 different hazard removals, she has one of each. One of which Tentacruel loves to do it. Like most Tentacruel have Rapid Spin, whereas Togekiss likes to switch it up.
Like Togekiss, you don't want to run Rapid Spin. You're usually better with the 4th move. Tentacruel, usually you don't need a 4th move on it. Rarely is it necessary.
Stalled, T-Spikes, and Rapid Spin. What more do you need in life?
Exactly. Spread status everywhere. Yeah, I believe also she was my highest mover, going straight from 10 to 4. In part because of her impressive win versus my favorite team, and also because that transaction, I think, is really going to help her going forward.
I agree.
So I basically talked about her as my number 4, so you can talk about your number 5 now.
Do you want to say anything on Eric before we move on?
Oh, yeah, I have Eric at number 6, higher just because I love his team so much. But, I think his prep was just more in bringing the wrong 6 rather than how he played, which makes me feel better about him going forward, if that makes much sense. Because
I understand.
I feel like someone making one mistake in prep when I know that they happen to be very solid in prep most of the time worries me a lot less than someone consistently battling below par. So I'm not worried about his success moving forward, so that's why he's still in the top half.
That makes sense to me. I have to put Eric lower because I love Eric, and I have to give him a hard time, and he knows that. I've got to make him Claude at the top. But
There it
anyways,
is.
moving on to my number 5, I have the Melbourne Victory Star, who did win. Rather, I think they were the second biggest win this week with a 4-0.
I believe so. I believe only
I'm
Kyle was
fairly
higher.
certain.
Yeah.
The reason I did not put him quite as high is because even though, like you mentioned, he could have brought Arcanine, his opponent really didn't have much for Darm, and that made his match quite a bit easier. That he could just bring in Darm and basically get a kill.
Yep.
But he did. That doesn't. I don't want to take anything away from Better Jack. He's been a fairly consistent player through the seasons. He's been here since the first season of D2, and he did play well. I absolutely loved that he had. I might be getting my matches switched up. Actually, he did have Greninja Water Shuriken, didn't he? Didn't that kill something?
I believe so.
I'm pretty sure. I'm trying to make sure that I don't. I've watched a lot of League games over the past week. I want to make sure I don't get that mixed up. So many people have Greninja now. I can't watch 20 matches and then not remember exactly who did what.
I feel like he had Water Shuriken, which ended up killing the Scarf Raikou.
I think yes. I'm pretty sure that's
what I
happened.
recall. But
Yes, but I love it when people have Water Shuriken on Greninja for those exact moments. That was
really good prep.
That was great. He did really well with Gastrodon switching in on the switching around and making sure not to bring it in on the HP grass and whatnot.
Yep.
And the Blissey that I believe it had Dazzling Gleam to take out Hydreigon.
Oh, that was so cool.
That was very well done. It's not often you see Blissey taking down Hydreigon. He played very well. I didn't put him quite as high because mainly because of he did have a bit of a Darmanitan crutch kind of thing going on, but he still did. All of the people that I have in my top 5 I think have very good teams and did fairly well. So
yeah, the one thing I did say about his prep, at least he brought the right Darmanitan set. Like
yes.
At least he went in and did the calcs to make sure he knew what to run to hit KO the mons that he needed to hit KO. Because I feel like some people in that matchup would be lured into running a Scarf variant because they see things like Raikou and they just want to kill them. But he brought the right sets to lure in and deal with its switch-ins. So I think that was good prep on his part. He also made a transaction, which I really, really like. He got rid of Blissey, which I like Blissey much, much more than Chansey in the format. But he actually picked up Porygon 2, which, with my use of it in my own league, I have grown to love it. I think it's amazing, amazing, amazing in the format. It can do so many different things. It gets cool utility moves like Mirror Coat and Sharpen. So yeah, Sharpen Porygon 2 is the best Pokemon ever, but that's completely
Porygon
irrelevant. And now I'm just raving about Porygon 2. But I think it was a really good trade for his team. And even then, I think this match showed kind of that his lack of speed tiers that were really great doesn't matter the most, because even though he didn't bring the super fast things like the Mega Alakazam, he beat one of the teams that had some of the better speed tiers overall. So just his performance in this game makes me feel a lot better about how his team is going to match up against the other squads that he faces throughout the season. So that's that.
Yep, I agree pretty much. I also very much love Porygon 2. It's one of my favorite mons. Back when I did UU, I loved it. So I'm very excited to see him use it well.
So now, okay, I'm going to talk about... So I kind of jumped ahead talking about Jack, who's higher up on mine, but the Cleveland Bros and Ruby Marrow are at my number 5, dropping from the number 1 spot. The main reason that they dropped so much is they lost Evelyn, one of my lower ranked teams. Even though it was due to quite a bit of hacks, he still made one really, really bad play, which he acknowledged in his commentary, which I always appreciate when people do, and that was switching in the Salamence on the Terrakion. He should have scouted a little bit more to make sure that it was in fact choiced. And that switch cost him the game more than I think any of the hacks did. I think he knows that. Even though it was still unfortunate, I think even with making that play, without the hacks, he had a very good chance to win that game. Especially if his Donphan managed to knock out that Tangrowth, it was pretty much over. But still, you know, I liked the prep a lot. I really liked the Rock Polish on Donphan. I liked that he didn't get forced into running a Rapid Spin variant. And I think that the combination of his team, and if he's still able to utilize that creative prep, he'll continue to find success also. And so that's why he stays in my top half, despite a loss to one of my lower ranked teams.
Yeah, you summed it up pretty well how the match went. I definitely think the Salamence misplay and not trying to scout anymore, but it's really easy to fall into those ways of thinking with mons like Terrakion, which are so notoriously known for being banded and Scarf.
Yeah, no, 100%.
But it was definitely, he definitely should have tried, and like you said, he admitted to it as well. He should have tried to scout a little bit more, because it definitely was something that really cemented the game in Evelyn's favor. He did get, I felt bad for him when the I almost said Chestnut, when the Tangrowth didn't die. I love Donphan so much, it's one of my favorite mons.
Oh, yeah.
And to see Rock Polish come through as well as it almost did, it was good. I just really wish that he could have gotten the role, but you know, that's how Pokemon works, so not much can be done about it.
Alright, so you talked about your number 5 in Jack, so why don't you move on to your number 4?
Right, number 4, I have the Milwaukee Sawsbucks, which we've already talked about a good deal. I actually rated Steve's team. I was honestly a little surprised when you guys had it so low, mainly because of the Infernape. I actually rated it a little bit higher, even though I didn't actually give out points to people when we did the preseason draft. But I am a huge fan of his team, and I definitely do see the lack of hazard setting as a problem, but I didn't see it as that huge of a problem, because, you know, not only is it going to lure people like it did with RTK into not even bothering with Rapid Spin and Defog, but honestly, with a team this scary, I don't think you're going to need rocks incredibly too much. But it definitely can be helpful as it normally is. That's why it's such a centralizing thing in the metagame. But Latios, Scizor, Sylveon, Shaman, Blastoise to a lesser extent, Infernape, so many amazing mons that can do so much, and he did really well with them, especially Latios with the D-Dance just absolutely tore RTK apart. He wasn't expecting it. It did well. It was incredibly good prep on Steve's part, and that's pretty much it. He got rocks up with the Infernape, exactly what was said he wouldn't be able to do well, and he did it.
Sure.
So he did very well that match, and that's why I have him rated higher.
Just to clarify, I don't think that Infernape was a bad rock setter. I just think Infernape usually has better things to do than set up rocks. That's my viewpoint on it.
Fair enough.
Alright, anyways, we talked about them. Do you want to add anything about Cleveland at number 3?
I do have the Cleveland Bros at number 3. I didn't drop them that much because they were also like, they would have been like in my top 1 or 2 at the start of the season, definitely.
Yep.
He has an incredibly scary team. He used Rock Polish Donphan, which is glorious, like I mentioned. And he's got Reuniclus. He's just got so many good mons, and he made a bit of a mistake the first week, which tends to happen to a lot of us with the misplay against Terrakion, and he got a little unlucky. Not incredibly so, but a little unlucky with rolls and stuff. So that's about all I have to say on it.
Yep. I have Jack at number 3 for exactly what I talked about before, the combination of his prep, which I thought was really good, and his playing. I don't really think he misplayed at all, and his transfer. So that's why he moved up quite a bit, of my opinion of his team overall. But now we go back to where we agree precisely with our number 2. So I'll talk, because you talked about Steve last in depth anyway. So Fizz planned to win with Excadrill and won with Kabutops. So that's always cool. I was really impressed with his planning and how he was able to kind of divert from what he thought he was going to do going into the match based on what he saw in the game. I think that always shows good competency with your team. I thought his use of Volcarona was really cool, and I think really honestly his victory in such a fashion was again more of a product to the opponent's prep than anything that he did. Not to say he didn't do anything bad, but he just had to be solid, and he was, and came out with a victory mainly because his opponent in Ellie didn't bring, I think, what she needed to win the game.
I can agree with that. He did surprisingly well with normal Altaria. It's not something you would normally see, like, doing anything.
I love, too, just so you guys don't know, the only reason he drafted it, if I remember correctly, didn't he just think that it got defogged?
Did he? I hope so, because I
No, never mind. I think that was that him or is that someone else? There's also a different league that I'm in where someone also drafted normal Altaria.
It's mixed up so much around
here.
Yeah,
so I apologize. Fizz, I apologize if that is not the case, but...
I hope it is, though, because Ellie thought that it got defogged, and...
Oh, really?
I missed that.
Not during this match.
Oh, okay, that's why.
I think it was last season. She thought it got defog.
That's so funny.
She kept telling someone who was prepping, run defog, and then it was me and Raikkonen and someone else, and we just eventually said, Ellie, it does not get defog.
That's so funny. It does seem like a mon that should get defog, but honestly, if you think about it, dude, if Mega Altaria got defog, it'd be so good.
I thought about it, and then it hurt my head, and I don't want to think about it anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Not a ton else. I don't really have to say anything else for Steve. I mean, not for Steve. What am I saying? For Fizz, it was very solid overall from him.
Yeah, you pretty much said it. The way that he was able to, he expected Excadrill to do all the work, and then to be able to transition during the match to something like Kabutops of all things.
When he didn't even bring Politoed.
Yeah, when he didn't even have rain for it. Just that's the show of an incredibly good player.
Cool ability.
Yep. Yeah, it's the show of a good player, and I didn't even know that Volcarona got Hurricane, but he brought it and it went well, and he did well overall. It was a good match.
Mm-hmm. All right, next to our number ones, you can take it away.
Oh my! I'm sorry. I just clicked onto a number one spreadsheet, and it's bright red and bright blue, and it hurt my eyes. Why is it this text? Oh, and look on the right, it just says "Because America," of course. Number one, we have I can't get over this. We have Kyle and the Harlem Gloomtrotters, who got the 5-0 win against the Pittsburgh Piratas. Oh my goodness. As you mentioned earlier when we were talking about Tup at the very start of the match, he did not have much for Thunderous T at all, especially with its speed tiering. And Kyle took very well advantage of that, managing to get 5 kills with it, setting up the nasty plot, had Incinerate for the Pharaoh Thorn, and then just Thunderbolted and killed everything. It was great. He led with Wobbuffet as well, which was a great move on his part to get the Garchomp down and all of that. Yeah, it was. He did very well with it, and the Thunderous work was so great. Switching the Landorus T in did not work as well as he hoped, but in the end it didn't really matter. All it did was end up with a 5-0 instead of a 6-0, pretty much.
Yeah. Exactly what you said. I covered a lot of my thoughts on Kyle during when we were talking about Tup at the very beginning of this, but I thought he played very well. He brought what he needed to, and his play of not switching out of Thunderous D because he knew he had the game won was very smart, although it's not necessarily the most obvious good play. It was the good play and what he needed to, and it gave him the 5-0 instead of like a 3 or 4-0. Also, he made a Queen reference on his sheet, so points.
Well, yep, that's why he's number one instead of Fizz.
Thunderbolts and lightning, very, very frightening.
That's
Kyle's
exactly why I got number one instead of.
Oh, of course, instead of Fizz. Otherwise, Fizz would have been ahead of him.
Obviously.
All right, well, those are the Week 1 power rankings. I hope they didn't bore you, and hopefully they. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say.
Very well said.
I'm bad at this.
Outro us then, if that's fine with
you.
you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you all for watching. We really appreciate it. We hope you enjoyed the power rankings. Be sure to leave us your list down below if you had any differences compared to us. We hope you enjoyed, and be sure to check out all of the matches coming up. When does this go up? On Wednesdays?
I think the matches go up Wednesdays.
No, the matches go up Thursdays.
Goes Thursdays. That's right. Yeah,
matches are Thursdays.
This should. No, I think this should be up Tuesday, hopefully.
Tuesday or Wednesday.
Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah.
Matches are on Thursday. They'll be up soon. Be sure to subscribe to the D2 people so you can see the matches go up. It's going to be great. We've got some great matches coming up next week. Specifically, I'm looking forward to Kyle against Ruby. But,
yeah, that's going to be a great one.
Yep. Do you have anything to say before we go?
Nope, that's it. Oh, one big shout out to Bill Standish for editing this, because if he wasn't editing this, I would probably have to, and then I couldn't do power rankings. So shout out to Bill. He's a cool kid. Anyways, that's it. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.